All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And just a few quick little announcements. I'm not sure what the announcement was specifically, but if you are watching live on Facebook right now, go ahead and watch. But then after we're finished with the live, I'm taking it off and just putting the YouTube link there. But I don't know why I'm doing that, but it somehow made sense to me. So I was like, okay. So if you are watching live, please, enjoy and then follow us on YouTube as well if you're not, right? So I will share the YouTube link on Facebook as well later and in the group. Yeah, I think that was the only major announcement because people may be like, well, there was a video here yesterday, it's suddenly gone. Well, yeah, that's why. It's like I'm only posting it live when I'm doing the live show. Afterwards, I'm just posting the YouTube link, okay? So that's the new change. I don't know. This came to me yesterday, so I was like, all right, we'll go with it. Right, so today, my good friend Matthew John is back with us, and we're so glad that he is back with us, and we're talking about what does the future have in store for the world and for you? And so some of what we're going to talk about today with Matthew is about Ascension, and will the Ascension be completed successfully or not? What events might shake the collective in coming decades, how to best navigate the coming years, how technological advancements will change life as we know it, and what life might look like in 10 to 20 years. It'd be interesting to know that, and what's in your future and more. And Matthew's going to be doing some live readings today for select viewers to tell them what's in their future and what their soul's purpose is in this life. That's exciting. So for those of you who don't know Matthew, he has been on our show many times. We love having him come back. We always learn so much. There's so much wisdom that comes through Matthew. He is an internationally recognized spiritual teacher, a spiritual mentor, intuitive psychic, medium, intuitive astrologer, starseed guide, energy healer, medical intuitive, and life coach, working with angels, archangels, and ascended masters. He is a gifted intuitive, wisdom channeler, and transmitter of healing frequencies. And so Matthew has been on a 13-year plus awakening journey. His powerful and effective teachings and healings are a product of many intense awakening experiences, deeply human ordeals, and tens of thousands of hours of study. He receives clear guidance from his guides, which he shares with his followers and clients from around the world. He specializes in helping others to heal their childhood and past life traumas, reading people's life plans from a soul perspective, as well as serving as a mentor for starseeds and those who are looking to accelerate their spiritual development. If you'd like to learn more about Matthew, you can go to our live page, alara.at/show/live, so you can read up more about Matthew's bio. But we want to get started because there's always so much to cover, and we always want to share and make this time really valuable for all of you. So Matthew, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, thank you for having me back, Alara. I'm very happy to be here.
So I'm excited because, let's face it, we would all love to know what the future is going to be like, right? And especially 10 to 20 years from now, it's like, oh, I wonder what that's going to be like. Because it's changing so fast, right? Everything is changing so fast, right?
Yeah,
you never know,
it is.
right? From one day to the next, what's going to happen.
It's quite amazing, yeah.
Just really quickly, so if you do want to ask Matthew a question, you can raise your hand raise your hand. That's the best way because, Matthew needs to talk to you, have a conversation. Engagement is important.
Absolutely,
So if you'd like to have a reading, we're going to do a few. We'll try to do as many as we can. We'll see how that goes, right?
Yeah,
so raise your hand. Awesome. And that's only for the people who are here live on the Zoom, okay? So if you're in Facebook land or somewhere else, can't help you. Come and join us.
Hop on the Zoom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Perfect.
So let's get started because I know you always have so much to share.
Yeah. Well, we talked about, what life could be like in 10 or 20 years. You mentioned, well, it's amazing how quickly things are changing. I mean, and it really is true. And really the one kind of underlying key that really changes everything, if we think about it, is technology, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, even 15 years ago, you and I and all the people here in the group and the Zoom group and Facebook would not be able to watch this. I mean, look how much technology has changed our, little niche new age community, right? back when you and I started getting into the awakening, and you know, even much longer ago than myself, it was through books, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
many of us that did kind of start out through books had the mystical experiences of like going to bookstores and kind of having books fall off the shelf. That certainly happened to me several
Mhm.
times. Or having books recommended by friends, by people you come across. And that was how we started to get our information, our channeled information, our understanding of the idea of ascension. But look at us now, where our, you know, our little new age community now, pretty much everything is done online, which is a wonderful thing because it really is very much in line with the age of Aquarius. One of the traits of the sign of Aquarius in astrology is technology, is the internet. The internet itself is an Aquarian creation because it's something, anything that ties large groups of people together, ties communities together, ties an entire planet together, as the internet does, would fall under the realm of Aquarius. And as a planet, we have moved, I do believe we have already moved from the planetary age of Pisces into the planetary age of Aquarius. There's some argument as to exactly when, or even if that has occurred yet. Some astronomers and astrologers would argue that it hasn't actually occurred yet, that it's something that will occur in the 2030s. But I've always kind of used December 21st, 2012 as a marker for that transition. Some people use December 21st, 2020. Regardless, it's important to take a step back. You know, one of the questions that I promised to address today is, will the ascension take place successfully or not? And I love just trying to be a grounding force to the community a little bit and reminding us to take a step back and realize that the age of Aquarius as a planetary age is 2,156 years long. That is a planetary age, the length of a planetary age. So if it started in 2012, we're 10 years in. If it started in 2020, we're 2 years in. If it doesn't start until the 2030s, we're not even there yet. So when people, a lot of times in New Age circles, people tend to jump the gun on things and expect to see changes in the outside world much more quickly than is realistic. And this isn't a new phenomenon at all, because I was someone that read so many channeled books from the 1980s and 1990s, and so many, and channeled and non-channeled books. And so many of these books were talking about Earth cataclysms occurring between 1998 and 2001, and pole shifts occurring during that time. And, you know, mass worldwide changes, even things like a large portion of the population is not being here anymore due to Earth cataclysms. And of course, none of that really happened. And then after that, a lot of the channeled and non-channeled material was pointing to 2012. There was a lot, if we think back, for those of us that were in the New Age community before 2012, there's a heck of a lot of hullabaloo around what was going to come in 2012 and what sort of pole shifts or cataclysms or massive changes. And some people believe that there was going to be just a brand new Earth that you know, the ascending ones would go to, or a big portion of the population would go to, however people looked at it. And yes, December 21st, 2012 was quite a significant event. I was down in Mexico at the pyramids of Palenque actually during that time, and it was quite magical. However, nothing really major happened, of course, right? Then that all got projected onto 2020, right? December 21st, 2020, the Star of Bethlehem, the Christmas star, right? The conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in the sky. What will this create, you know, in Aquarius and Western astrology, right? Now, we did see the results of that were, you know, the massive spread of the pandemic, right? Right after that. And of course, there's all sorts of spiritual ramifications for the experience that our planet has been going through over the past 3 years during this pandemic. But again, it was kind of this marker where there was so much out there, people talking about a solar flash, right? This grand solar event, and it would eviscerate, you know, most of the population of the earth and only the ascending one. And in the end, it's all BS, right? I would have loved to swear there, but I want to keep you monetized. So it's in the end, all of that channel stuff, which really has a lot of, if you look, I've always kind of looked under the surface and seen an element of fear with it about how, things are going to just, it's a very apocalyptic sort of way of looking at the future. And it's not that different as the way that apocalyptic preachers in the 90s and the early 2000s, and even now there's still some left, would give certain dates for some sort of apocalypse, and only the good Christians would be able to make it to the other side, so to speak. So I've always seen that as sort of a falsity in the New Age community, a product of the illusion of ego that is wanting this process to be completed very quickly, because wanting to get out of the pain of being an earth being a 3D being in a very dense, difficult realm, and moving into something that's much better, much more comfortable, a fifth dimensional realm, if you will. Well, that is something that is still on track to happen. It's not that it's not real. It is very real. It's just that it is a much slower progression than we like to think. But yet, at the same time, if we really zoom out, we will actually see that it is a magically quick progression. When we zoom out and we look at the difference in life technology in the 1980s versus the 2020s, we can see that life is so ridiculously different nowadays. What if that is an exponential curve, which it actually is in reality? What does life look like just 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, right? And then if we think about, that's technology that I'm talking about, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. But if we also apply that to spirituality, if we look at the prevalence of this sort of New Age spirituality, where we are taking into account extraterrestrial forces, we're taking into account the astrological ages and the idea of a golden age coming to this planet. And if we look at the prevalence of that sort of discourse in our world back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, yes, it was there for sure. The harmonic convergence of 1987 was a huge event. And that was when the very few that were starting to get into this material gathered and paid attention to that. And that actually was a part of public discourse. It was something that was portrayed in the media, the harmonic convergence of 1987, for example. But if we look at then compared to now, we can see how much more widespread this sort of understanding and knowledge and awareness that the planet is going through some sort of awakening. It is so much more widespread now, really because of the internet on a very grounded practical level, but because also underneath the surface, there is a somewhat logarithmic or exponential growth of spiritual awareness that's happening on this planet. So it's happening extremely quickly, yet at the same time, it seems to be happening quite slowly, because if we look at the outside world, we sometimes forget, especially those of us that participate in a lot of these sorts of groups like you and I do, where we end up living in a bit of an echo chamber a lot, where we're in this wonderful realm where we're sharing these new earth ideas and vibrations and love with one another. Yet we forget when we step out into kind of the normal world that that's really not how the world is quite yet, that the world still doesn't look, it still doesn't feel that different. It may start to look different because of technology, but it doesn't necessarily feel that different quite yet. And it's because we're, as the light workers, as the way showers, as most of us are star seeds, we're the ones at the very leading edge of the consciousness revolution of this planet. And we're still very much a minority on this planet. But if we zoom out and we take a look at, like, okay, the 60s, the little bits of consciousness revolution through the 60s until I said the harmonic convergence of 87, and then into the 21st century. And then when the growth really started to pick up, especially with the internet, if we zoom out and we look into the 2030s, the 2040s, the 2050s, it really takes off. It really, really takes off. And we can actually start to see evidence of that in the 2020s already, where things that just basic kind of spiritual, new age spiritual ideas and modalities are now so much more mainstream than they've ever been. Every other commercial, nowadays for a bank is showing people doing yoga or Tai Chi or meditation. Okay. LeBron James is touting this meditation app. Meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, they've become so mainstream. We forget back in the early, really not too long ago, early 2000s, late 90s, if you did yoga, you were kind of weird. Really, you were looked at kind of like a weirdo. Okay. Now, at least in the United States. Okay. Now, it's totally normal. It's like what every New York Wall Street businessman does after work. They go to yoga. They used to go to the bar. Now they go to yoga. Then they go to the bar. Okay. So we can see little tidbits in the mainstream media. Okay. Astrology, you never used to hear much about it. It was once in a while you would hear little tidbits in Hollywood movies. People in Hollywood have always been a little bit more at the leading edge in a lot of ways because wealth allows access to higher education and information that sometimes the lower classes don't end up being privy to a lot. Of course, there's exceptions because we could say, some of the lower class ethnic communities are much more involved in witchcraft and hoodoo and voodoo and santeria and I mean witchcraft in a positive sense. I'm a witch myself. But there were tidbits of astrology in movies in the 80s and 90s. But now I see it all the time in movies. There's this Disney, not just astrology, just spiritual discourse in general, non-Christian, Christian Judaic discourse. For example, Disney's series called Soul, right? I believe. I keep hearing this from clients everywhere. They're like, "Matt, you got to watch this Soul." It's like they're literally showing like what it's like to be a soul and reincarnate, and this is Disney, right? This stuff never would have big Hollywood companies would not have felt comfortable putting this stuff into public discourse 20, 30 years ago. But now, because it is becoming more mainstream, everything boils down to money. And because these companies see that, oh, look, the American public, and I'm just speaking because I am an American, but I think it's similar in a lot of European countries and probably most of the world, is okay, because the American public is starting to become wise to meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, astrology, life coaching, meditation, tapping, like all this stuff. Well, it suits our financial interests to play off of that and to put that in commercials, to put that in movies, to put that in TV shows, because people are attracted to that now. It all boils down to money, ultimately, for the corporations, right? But on from another lens, we could say that, oh my God, look at this. This is evidence. This is real world evidence of the revolution of consciousness. Another way we can look at the real world evidence of the revolution of consciousness is the extraterrestrial discourse. People like myself who listen to Coast AM every night, stayed up all night to listen to Coast to Coast. Let me know in the chat if you're a Coast to Coast fan. I remember when Art Bell was on the air, okay? And then George Norrie, I absolutely adore. And we, in the UFO sort of communities, again, we were the weirdos back in the 90s, the 2000s, even like right around 2010, like we were still the weirdos, right? It's like, oh, come on, aliens, like the public discourse, the general discourse is like, oh, come on, there's no such thing as aliens, right? Look at it now. Look at 2022 when the US government has declassified all sorts of documents, literally showing videos of UFOs. Who the hell ever thought that was ever going to happen? In the UFO community, we were looking forward to disclosure for decades, and people that are way older than me have been looking forward to disclosure since Roswell, since the 1940s, right? And it happened, and people are just like, oh wow, okay, maybe there are aliens, right? It just shifted like that. And again, that's another real world sign of the revolution of consciousness. So we have to look for those little tidbits. And at the same time, we have to take, from my point of view, is to take a realistic look and look, okay, there's, the worst war we've had since World War II still going on with really no ends in sight. Eventually there will be resolution, but it's not looking good yet. Economic troubles are plaguing pretty much every country, and it's starting, what's happening in the United States is starting to affect Europe and vice versa. And there is such a complicated interplay in geopolitics and economics right now. We find ourselves in a Scorpio-Taurus nodal configuration until I believe like mid next year. And during this Scorpio-Taurus nodal configuration, where it's finance and economic systems around the planet that are being renegotiated. So it makes sense that we're really already in a recession, if by many definitions, at least in the United States. And for most of the world to kind of head into an economic downturn, it makes sense because of the nodal configuration. And it's the very beginning of a restructuring of the world financial system into something that is more, something that can benefit the all versus benefit the few. However, it's not something that happens like that, although many of us wish it would. The channelings for many years about a quantum financial system, about basically, this idea that, oh, when this all happens, we're all going to be presented with a check for $1 million or whatever through this QFS quantum financial system. It's all BS, to be quite blunt. Okay, it is in my view, the ego's projection of like, oh, well, this is what it could look like sometime in the future. This is what we're gearing towards as a collective that is ascending. However, it's not something that's supposed to just happen instantly like that. Eventually on this planet, I can almost promise you, yes, we will be in a place where everyone has enough to survive and actually to thrive. But will there be no money? Probably not. There will still be some sort of method of exchange. Okay. Will that happen tomorrow? Will that happen next year? No. No. Will it happen 5 years from now? No. Will it happen 10 years from now? No. Will it happen 15, 20, 30? We start to go out a little bit further, maybe. We start to move closer in that direction. We do have Pluto making its transition into Aquarius right around the middle of this decade. That's a big transition because when Pluto moves into Aquarius, really the focus comes on how the Aquarian age, Pluto transforming the systems of the planet into how they can finally benefit the all versus benefiting the few, right? So we see little early signs of shifts in the financial systems. Cryptocurrency is such a fascinating thing because it does allow this possibility for a secondary financial system outside of the legacy financial system. However, it also allows for the most massive Ponzi schemes and scams and crime to take place. So it's two sides of a coin with cryptocurrency. So we see little signs, okay, in different ways. When people start to rely less on cash, okay, because cash seems like, oh, so 2019, and just more on using Venmo, Apple Pay. You used to have to, put your credit card in somewhere. Now, a lot of times people just swipe their phone to pay for something, right? these are the early signs of, yes, a more digital based financial system where cash is totally a thing of the past. That's inevitable. It really is inevitable. Is it good? Is it not? There's arguments to be made on both sides. Okay. Things like technology that really integrates into us and allows us to interface with the internet, with the whatever we want to call it, the new web, whatever's being created, is inevitable because it really is already here. I mean, if we rewind, when I was in high school, like cell phones were first kind of becoming mainstream, but they were these stupid little, first they were these stupid little kind of boxy phones like this that you pretty much just called with. It took forever to text because you got to go, you got to press 4 twice, then 6 3 times, then 8 twice to get the right letters, right? And then you got the flip phones, and then, but still, it's like texting was kind of lame back then. It's like, really, if you were going to call your friend and set some up, you called them, you didn't text them, right? But it didn't take very long, did it, until these iPhones started coming out. And all of a sudden, we start to do everything digitally, right? We start to do everything with our just projecting our thoughts into words, into text. And that's how we communicate pretty much. If you think about your communication nowadays, for most people, you actually communicate more through text, whether it's email, text, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you're using, than like speaking to people. Like you connect, you keep in touch more with people in your life. Most people do. And if we think back even to like 2006, that would seem ridiculous that would ever be a reality, but it really is. And if if we took a DeLorean back to the 80s and you told people in the 80s that they would be like, what are you talking about, right? But look how fast that has happened. And what if that is kind of the beginnings of telepathy? That is the beginnings of being able to communicate, right? It's the training wheels, it's the crutches towards telepathy on a spiritual level, where us star seeds, we come from the Sirian realms, the Arcturian realms, the Pleiadian realms, etc. This is how we communicate. We communicate with telepathy. Very few beings that are from off planet actually communicate with words anymore. It's not that they can't, it's just that there's no point to it once they've reached this level of being able to just communicate directly with the mind, right? So these phones are a start. Now, what came after the phones? Apple Watches, right? Apple Watch technology that goes right on your body, okay? And you can look at your sleep, you can look at your heart rate, you can look at all this sort of thing. You can call people, you can text people, you can do whatever, right? Okay, so now that's this phone that now carries our entire lives, now more integrated with our body. Well, what's probably next? Okay, some sort of projection of that. Actually, I've already seen, I'm pretty sure they've already created like where it can kind of project like a holographic screen onto your forearm, right? Okay, well, what's the natural progression after that? Microchips. There's no stopping it. It's what technology companies are going to inevitably start to pitch to the public as a method of convenience. Are there a lot of downsides to it? Yeah, absolutely. Is it something that I would want to get in me? No, I wouldn't. But it's something that is going to inevitably be pitched, especially in the Western world and especially in somewhere like China, in China, it may become a little more nefariously, with an element of fear to it. But in the West, it's going to be something that's pitched as a method of convenience, because eventually in the 2030s, okay, most people, you go into a store to pay for something. First, you started by, just remember the progression. First, let's go all the way back. First, you took your credit card. They went, remember that? Who remembers that? Tell me in the chat if you remember people going like this to your credit card, right? And then you got to sign it. They rip off and they give you the slip, right? Okay, then swipe your card. Okay, then chip, then wave. Now you just Apple Pay wave your phone or wave your Apple Watch. What's next? Inevitably, there's going to be a chip in most people. They're going to wave to pay. Okay, they're going to wave to get in their apartment. Okay, they're going to call an Uber, probably somehow by interfacing their chip with their phone or whatever technology, and call the Uber. Right? The days of us driving may be numbered, And there's positive and negatives to it. I mean, driving is fun, Sadhguru, when people aren't really driving for themselves anymore, for example. But and I love driving. I've always loved driving. And I don't know, it might not be something that totally goes away, but it's certainly something that's going to be vastly reduced. Uber started, Uber and Lyft started with people, you on your phone, you book them to pick you up and drive you somewhere. Now it's Uber self-driving cars, right? And that's going to become really the main way of getting around for a vast majority of people living in the Western world, at least pretty darn soon. I would say in the 2030s, is you get your Uber and the car has no driver. It picks you up instantly. It takes you where you want to go. You can put on whatever, radio or music or whatever podcast you want to listen to on the way, and it drops you off and it deducts automatically from your bank account. Everything is linked, right? This is the type of world we're moving into we're already there. I mean, everything is already linked to everything else. Everyone does banking on their phone now, right? It's inevitable. Are there downsides to this? Are there privacy concerns? Absolutely. Are there concerns about us losing our humanity? Absolutely. AI, not just integrating with our bodies, but also, is one of the most fascinating things that happened from an economic standpoint during the pandemic was the fact that so many people in Western countries, especially, just stopped working. They just, and they didn't go back to work once they were able to. And that we had this real gap in jobs available versus people that want to work. That's still something that is happening. And that opens the door for AI to create robots that can start to do the jobs that humans just don't want to do anymore. Are there positives to that? Absolutely. Are there negatives to it? Yes, of course. Okay. I would expect to see in the 2030s robots all over cities. Okay. Probably little police robots rolling on by. Okay. I would expect to see that. It's already started, I believe, in China. It'll eventually spread to the West, I do believe. Okay. Probably little drones once in a while going by, keeping an eye on things. Okay. I would expect to see many stores greet you, robots greeting you at stores. Okay. I would expect to see, like, for example, you might go in a department store and you want to get a different size of something. And it might be something where there's a screen, you say, okay, I need a size 4 instead of a size 5 or whatever, an XL instead of an XXL, right? And it may be a robot that does that for you, okay? I can see this as soon as the 2030s, maybe the 2040s at the latest, where a lot of people won't be working anymore. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? There's positive sides, there's negative sides to both. It's a giant shift in the economy that's going to take place. And there will still be people that work. There will still be entrepreneurship. There will still be companies. There will still be, but there will be a lot of people that had their jobs taken by robots, by AI. And also, it doesn't mean that there aren't rich people anymore, because there still will be rich people and they'll probably get richer and richer and richer. It's almost as if, the way I see it, this whole system that we're living under has to get so stupid, so extreme in a lot of ways, in order for it to snap back. We haven't reached that point yet. There's been, and it's important that there is pushback from people that don't want to buy into this stuff. The COVID shots, there's positives and negatives. I'm not going to get into that. But it was important that there were people that pushed back against mandates. Again, the science, I don't want to get into. There's positives and negatives. But it was important that there was pushback. And it will be important that there's groups of people that are pushing back against any of this overburdening of AI, where it becomes mandates or it starts to seep into privacy in really kind of creepy ways. And it's something that China's already kind of screwed. And I feel bad for the people that live over there. I feel awful for the people who live in North Korea, where they're not under the realm of the rule of technology. They're just under the realm of a horrible dictator. There's a lot of places around the world where people have it a hell of a lot worse than they have it in the US, Canada, Europe. If you live in the US, Canada, Europe, or if you live in Brazil, or you live in relatively first world countries, you're very lucky in a lot of ways. There's a lot of places where you're not as fortunate. These will be a lot of first world problems, the stuff I'm talking about. But yet the so-called third world will follow suit eventually, because the first world stuff always starts to trickle down into the third world nations, and eventually the whole world starts to kind of find this equilibrium with things. So it's important that there will be pushback. At the same time, there will be many things that we want to embrace about technology. Look at this: Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All this stuff is, I mean, not Zoom, but all the social media platforms have horrible privacy concerns. Yet most of us have decided to say, okay, they're obviously mining my data. There's nothing I can do about it, but let me at least use these platforms for good. Let me use these platforms to connect with others, to make new friends, to communicate my message to the world, to create a business, right? To gather in groups like we're gathering in today. So there will be many light workers that say, hell yeah, get me a microchip. This is fun. I want to be able to pay for things with my wrists and get into my apartment. And that's okay. There's no right or wrong for any of this. It's just different ways of exploring. And I want to relate Atlantis and Lemuria to this. Because if you were in Atlantis, for example, the type of future that I'm seeing in the 2030s or 2040s is going to look a lot like Atlantis did, a lot like the cities of Atlantis did, where technology was king. And there was this integration between AI and the human being in Atlantis. And it was something that they found very convenient. It was something that they really enjoyed. It was something that they found to be very spiritual. There's nothing unspiritual about technology. In fact, when I take my clients, when they do starseed discovery sessions with me, to places like the Syrian realms, where I'm from, Arcturian realms, many different Andromeda galaxy realms, many different realms, they are so obsessed with technology, but they've been able to integrate the technology in a healthy way where it's not harming you at all. It's only augmenting. It's only augmenting reality, augmenting your life, augmenting your health. And there's wonderful possibilities for that when it comes, like right here, right now on Earth, when it comes to medical technologies. I'm someone that I love exploring any new cool medical device, healing device that I come across. Some of them are a bit expensive, but any of the stuff that like people send me like, oh, Matt, you should check out this thing or this thing. I'm like, I'll buy it. Like, let me buy it and let me try it. And I'm fascinated with this advancement in, for example, a lot of technologies from Tesla coming back. And the opportunity is ripe now for Tesla type scalar energy technologies for not only medical uses, but for just society in general, for energy uses. And I do see us shifting. See, people have a point and the right to question the authenticity in a lot of ways of climate bills. Yet, at the same time, if you look at reality, our planet is really messed up as far as the environment goes. Really, really messed up. The planet is very ill because of what we've polluted it with. And not you and I, what corporations have polluted it with. So when they come out with, as the administration in the US now is doing, coming out with new climate bills, right, that can help to move us in a direction of cleaner energy, although, yes, it certainly comes with some other sort of agendas as far as creating more wealth for perhaps the certain rich and giving the people less as the powers that be have done since the beginning of human history. At the same time, it is a sign of this move from the old petroleum-based energies. If you're an alien and you came to Earth and you saw us driving around using gasoline that was $5 a gallon and beat up like 1984 Honda Civics, you'd be like, what the, I'm not going to swear, but what is wrong with these people? What are you doing? Right? And of course, it's not our fault. It's the powers that be that have suppressed all the technologies that can move us around better. But we are going to move that direction. I love that California and other states are following along, banning new sale of gasoline cars. I think that's wonderful. I think the move towards electric cars in the United States is a wonderful thing, and it's going to continue. Okay, these Uber cars driving around, they're not going to be running on gasoline. They're going to be running on electricity. And then eventually, everything's going to be running on scalar energy. It's going to be running on free energy. Because eventually, that old claw of the petroleum-based, it all comes down to money. The old claw of the petroleum-based industries that make billions and billions and billions and run so much of the geopolitics. So much of the geopolitics of our planet is just based on oil. That's all it is. Saudi Arabia, Russia, Ukraine, Iran, the US, so much of this interplay is just about oil. That's all it is. So when we finally move away from those old fossil fuels into new sorts of energy, and solar, wind, and electric are kind of the, as far as cars goes, these are the early signs of that. But 2050s, 2060s, I see us living with just using scalar technology, scalar energy to run everything. Okay, eventually there will be corporations that start to create this stuff, and the old claw of the petroleum industries won't be able to stop it any longer. It'll become too powerful. The public will demand it. Okay, the public is a huge part of this. The more that we demand, the more that the corporations have to eventually follow suit. The oligarchy eventually has to follow suit. So it will come, but first, of course, this old petroleum claw rising from this earth, this zombie, is going to do everything it can to keep control, because it's in everything. It's in every government, right? Of course it is. New medical technologies, of course, there's a lot of pressure of preventing new medical technologies that maybe already exist, that can cure all sorts of things. Of course, the old claw of the medical industry is going to do everything it can to protect itself, right, from that. But eventually the pressure will become too much. Why? Because of the underlying spiritual evolution that's going on this planet, the underlying logarithmic spiritual augmentation that's happening, this awareness. And why is this happening? Really, because our solar system has moved into the photon belt. We've moved into the age of Aquarius, and we're starting to receive the light from the photon belt. Last time we received the light from the photon belt was back in the age of Leo, 13,000 years ago in Atlantis and Lemuria. We're now stepping into that photon belt again, and we're starting to receive that light. So that light translates to spiritual light, because it's just photonic light, and really everything is photonic light. Everything is light at the very underneath it. Everything, you are light, okay? Everything is light at the very, 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 very source of it. So as we receive more light, eventually, no matter what, all these systems will shift. It's just that it's not going to happen in a year. This is going to be a process. It's going to play out probably over the next 4 or 5 decades. But I'm quite confident that before the end of the 21st century, we're living on the new earth that we are desiring. We're living on an earth where we have nothing but free renewable energy. We're no longer polluting the earth, and we all have more than enough to thrive. And we're also stepping into more ascended versions of self, where things like teleportation and telekinesis and telepathy are quite common. Also, being an intergalactic planet where not only are we constantly having visitors from the Pleiades and the Yael and the Syrians and whoever else, the Arcturians and their triangular ships, whoever wants to visit, and they're already here already. People post UFO videos on YouTube every day showing these ships. So they're here. It's just that they're not landing on the White House lawn and meeting Joe Biden yet, because that they know that would be too much too soon. Okay. It has to be something that they're slowly acclimating the beings of Earth to. But I do see more official contact in the 2030s. Does it mean meeting the president of the United States? I don't know. I'm not sure if it works like that, like we've kind of seen in movies or whatever, or if it's something that they do kind of, outside of the governmental envelope and do it maybe at a sacred site or something, maybe Glastonbury, right? Maybe, what's that?
We'll have to see when the time comes.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, and just, briefly, I just want to bring things back just for a moment back to Lemurian Atlantis. And as I said, back in Atlantis, what we're seeing now and what the 2030s and 2040s are going to look like, from what I've seen, as I said, are going to look very similar to Atlantis, at least in the cities. But yet there is this also other prevailing energy, this prevailing force that is basically old Lemuria rising again here in the 21st century. And ever since the early 2000s and more lately, I've been hearing of and seeing groups of light workers, groups of beings that have been creating these new earth communities that are out in nature. A lot of them are in Costa Rica, or a lot of them are in Mexico. A lot of them are, in the Western United States. And I'm seeing more and more of these. And these are basically Lemurian communities, Novo Lemurian communities. And that's like the kind of Lemurian pushback to the Atlantean assault in certain ways. And we're going to see more and more of people that are disconcerted with living in these progressing Atlantean times. And there's nothing wrong with Atlantis. So many of you that were on this call, and watching on the replay, were probably in Atlantis, but also so many of you were in Lemuria. Some of you were in both. Some of you only were in one. And so this Lemurian consciousness will rise more and more, and we'll see it in these new earth communities that are outside of the realm of cities and that are creating their own energy, creating their own education, okay? Not subject to the indoctrination and discourse of whatever kids are being taught. I mean, not to get into it, but it's like, I remember being in school when 9/11 happened, okay? And when 9/11 happened, I was in school and they showed on the TV that this is how woke I was at whatever age. I was in the 8th grade or whatever. And they showed the 19 hijack. I was like, come on, man. They already got him. Are you serious? Like, what is this? Is this a TV show or something? This is a movie, right? Okay. But now kids nowadays will never question 9/11, the vast majority of them, because it's just now in the history books. It's like, oh, on September 11th at 8 a.m. this happened. And then George Bush was in the school and they told him, and then the towers, and they won't ever question it because the indoctrination. The history gets written by the history writers. History gets written by the people that write the history books. That's what happened in 1984. Okay. If you haven't read 1984, you have to read it. It's one of the, most important things to just understand kind of the trajectory of where the darker beings want to push things. Right. But what I was saying is, like, in these Lemurian communities that we're recreating, teaching our children what we want to teach them. Okay. Teaching our children how to be telepathic and use telekinesis, and how to understand astrology and read tarot cards, and how to meditate, and how to connect with animals, and all the things that we used to teach them back in Lemuria. Right. So I applaud all the people that are creating communities that are kind of outside of the system, off the grid, so to speak, and creating their own little, rebirths of Lemuria. And we're going to see that more and more as more and more people get kind of frustrated and just don't feel at home anymore in the progressing Atlantean cities. Now, briefly, any specific things to look out for? Look, and I don't know, I'm just doing my best, just what I've seen. I think that the Earth is due to shake up in a lot of ways, in a lot of places, sometime over the rest of 2020s and early 2030s. I think the climate is a big thing that we're not just the climate, but just weather in general. Weather in general, big weather events being a bit more of a thing as we move further into the photon belt here, and we're just getting bombarded with more and more of this high frequency light. The Earth likely will want to release a lot of the old pain and tension stored in, if we think about the grid, the underlying energetic grid underneath the Earth, and that could come in the form of sort of geological events. I think that is something to look out for potentially in the future. It's not something that I hope for, obviously. It'd be nice if none of that ever happened, but it is something that it just likely will be more a part of our experience. And of course, something like the COVID event, it's something that could be repeated into the future. When, I don't know. I would imagine sometimes toward the end of the 2020s could be. And then, of course, the whole extraterrestrial thing, as I said, to look forward to. I think the early 2030s is going to be a huge time of contact with extraterrestrials, and we'll see how everyone on the planet reacts to that, and also economic shifts. And I think that if you've got money now, good, and if you're on the track to creating more and more wealth, good, keep going. Don't worry about what the system will do. Dollars, US dollars, euro dollars will still exist. US dollars and euros will still be king. But at the same time, I think poverty becomes more and more of a problem for more and more people, unfortunately, because it's a rigged system. And the rigged system is going to get more extreme. Basically, as I said, it's like a rubber band, and the powers that be are just going to keep pulling on the band more and more. And they do it in stages, then they let up, and then they do it again, then they let up, then they do it again. And it gets more extreme until it kind of snaps back into reality, which will be the shift into a more progressive system that benefits the all. So hold your horses, be patient, and don't be fearful of any of this. Like,
exactly.
This is all you're here because you wanted to experience this. Actually, if you're here incarnated now, it's because your soul, your galactic self wanted to be here during this time to experience exactly all of this stuff and all the crazy stuff that could happen over the next 15, 20 years. Okay. So be here and enjoy it. And also, the law of attraction is not suspended during any time. The law of attraction was not suspended during COVID. There were people that got richer than they ever were in their life during the pandemic when everyone else was getting poorer. Not saying it's necessarily a good thing, but if you're getting rich by doing something that's benefiting other people, it's benefiting society, then I go for it, right? The law of attraction is not suspended. You can still create whatever magical life you want. You can still create whatever type of wealth you want, okay? No matter what happens with the outside world. And I would not worry about the US dollar and the euro not being a thing. I would actually rely on those as actually being the safest things, safer than Bitcoin, going into the future, which I think is a misunderstanding that a lot of people in the New Age community have. But that's my my spiel, my discourse for today.
Awesome. Oh my God, that was so much wisdom, so much to take in, and so much, it's like, I'm looking at, okay, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, what, it's like after that, I don't know if I'll still be here after 30 years, right? So it's like, let's see what we're going to experience. It is going to be an exciting time. I think there are more discoveries, more developments, and it's about us also choosing what it is that we want to experience, how we, like you just said with the law of attraction, what do we want, right? So I cannot use the chat anymore. I got kicked out when I was using chat. So I was like, okay. So
can I answer a question in the chat real quick?
Sure, because I don't see anything, but go ahead.
You can't see it? What's going on?
I lost my chat when I got kicked out. So
there, that's awesome. You started with C60. I take
Sarah.
a tablespoon a day. Yeah, is it Sarah? Sorry. I take a tablespoon a day. So that's what I take.
Yeah, try it out, Sarah. She's already got it.
Take it with food.
Awesome. Good. So do you want to do a reading for somebody?
Let's do a reading. So what we can do is you can ask me either like, okay, like kind of what would be my highest purpose, like, you know, now ongoing, or what would my future look like in this area of my life? Those would be two good questions.
Okay.
Shelly asked, what is C60? C60 is a supplement. It's quite miraculous. It's not found in nature. Actually, the only place we can find it is in meteorites. It actually comes from space, but you can't get it out of a meteorite. It's already oxidized, but it's 60 carbon molecules, okay, in the shape of a soccer ball or a football for you Europeans. And it's the master antioxidant. It's 228 times more powerful than vitamin C. And it's a free radical scavenger. And it's quite possibly a life extender. It was discovered back in the original trials when they were actually testing for potential toxicity. And they found miraculously that the lab rats that they were treating the C60 with doubled their lifespan. And quite sadly, I think they actually had to terminate the lab rats because they lived too long and they had to end the experiment. But that's how they found that it had an application for mammalian health for animals and humans. So I take a tablespoon a day. Everyone that listens to me takes C60. My animals take C60. If you're curious about it, I have some information on my YouTube channel about C60.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly, for asking. All right, so we're going to go to Shelly. She had her hand raised for the longest time since before we even went live.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much, Alara, and thank you, Matthew, and for the explanation.
Yeah.
I'll be writing you about the C60.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, and I'm hoping this doesn't make you uncomfortable, but because I'm really okay with anything that you truly see. Do you have any insight as to the amount? I mean, you're not God, but or I didn't want to say that, but not to put you on the spot to be God, but do you have a vibe at all about my lifespan? I know it's maybe not fair, but it's due to my health, but I mean, any thoughts that come, and I'm so open to life or death. I mean, I have no fear of it. I'm just kind of on the periphery of wondering with what's going on in my health. Let's go with health. Let's just say that.
Yeah, let's go with health instead of lifespan.
Absolutely. I didn't mean to put you on a spot. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'll get you kicked off, Alara.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear about your health issues, because
Okay.
I know how frustrating that can be. I really do.
Thank you.
Let me just tune in. I'll just see what I pick up.
And of course, everything is for entertainment purposes. Just have to say that.
I hope I didn't put
Not
you.
that this is the most entertaining question, but yes, I agree.
Leave it to me.
Well, I see you at it just feels like you're at a crossroads. It reminds me of the the judgment card in the tarot. If you know the tarot at all, this would be number 20 in the major arcana. And the judgment card it's a very powerful card. It can be one of the more important kind of crossroads in your life, where somewhere deep inside you, you're making this decision whether you want to be here, whether you want to truly continue and fight through the struggle and the pain, the chronic pain and the chronic issues. And there's no right or wrong answer, but if you really deeply choose that you want to be here and make this work in this body, then your soul is there with you, and you'll have the opportunity to do that. You'll have the opportunity to heal completely, fully, whatever you're going through. at the same time, if it's not something that feels on whatever level like it's worth going through now for whatever reason, then you might go in a different direction. But I guess you should know that although you're faced with difficult circumstances, you absolutely have the power deep within you if you so choose. So it is about a choice, and if the choice is, which I hope it is, to keep fighting and give it all you've got and get creative. There's a lot of weight. There's a lot of energetic weight that you've accumulated throughout your life, especially coming from other people, that it's just it has to be fully let go of. You have to feel unburdened by that, and it's not necessarily by those people being any different. It's just by you choosing to be different, and also finding a really strong sense of purpose and what you can contribute here, whether it's art or whatever you enjoy that you can contribute here, or whether it's being somehow helpful, of service to other people, like directly, that will, we talk about like C60 is something, the idea is that C60 can potentially, for example, extend your telomere length, which is the strands of your DNA that really control your lifespan. But the most important thing for the telomere length is purpose, is a strong sense of purpose. And it's definitely a question that I've come across a lot lately with people, is this interplay between apathy and purpose. Apathy will shorten your life. It will, when you feel like you're on some level up against a wall that is just, it won't give in any way. There's no way through the wall won't come down. That's the sort of thing that will shorten the telomere length, because you won't feel a sense of purpose deep within. But if you can find and develop that sense of purpose, then that on its own may start to shift your body, shift your genetics to express in different ways. So the possibilities are still there. Nothing is predetermined. When the soul creates a life plan, I mean, this is quite true. The soul rarely creates sometimes yes, but rarely creates a hardened, predetermined like exit point, so to speak. It's all possibilities. It's different possibilities based on choices, free will choices, and based on where you're at in your journey, what frequency you find yourself kind of spending the most time in. And also just that the sense of desire deep down. So the possibilities for you are quite endless in this life. In reality, it's a deep-seated choice, and it's not something that's made in a moment. But the fact that you're even asking about it means that there's this glimmer of hope in you that you're centered in, and you just stick with that. And then the part of the mind, like, I think, and I don't blame you for asking the questions. Okay. But, I think the part of your mind or conscious that says, okay, dear, whatever person I'm talking to, can you tell me how long I'm supposed to live? That's in a sense, there's a bit of a fearful element to that. I know it's not centered in fear necessarily. It's centered in just wanting to know and understand yourself. Right. But as opposed to the question of like, what possibilities are here? Is there a possibility for healing? Is there a possibility for a greater sense of purpose? For me, is there a possibility for to feel fulfilled while I'm here in this body? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. So I just think that the reason you're asking this question is because you're feeling yourself at those energetic crossroads, like the Judgment card, and only you can really decide to fully commit or not. And there's no wrong answer.
Thank you. And you're, I have lived my purpose so amazingly, and I'm living it. I'm finding that ebbing a little bit, but in the sense of work, in the sense of my service.
So yeah, let me comment on that for you and everybody else. When you find yourself getting to one of those, like you said, ebbing, and it feels like your contributions and service are starting to wane or feel less purposeful or less exciting or starting to feel like a burden, it's because you find yourself at a point where that it's supposed to shift into something else. It's supposed to change. That's why.
You answered it all. That
That's
is,
why.
and
Why.
and my impatience, I'm not easy with that, whatever that
Your
word
body will
means.
respond to that. Your body will respond to that, and also your mind. Remember, this whole experience is happening through the mind, and your mind's experience of the body, and pain versus not pain. That's a mental experience, and it will shift body and mind. So
Bless
does
you.
this does most of what I said make sense? Give me some feedback.
Right on. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to leave, but there is that part of me. There is also that part of me, like my guys up there are starting to say, okay, we want you home. And yet I you know what I mean?
feel there's like this crossroads within, and there's part of you that are, almost, I guess, excited about either possibility in a certain way.
There is
and
a
that's
mixture.
okay. There's nothing wrong, with feeling that somewhere within, of like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be back with my angels and guides and family. And, of course, it's totally natural, especially when, you get a little bit older in human years. But at the same time, I would say, ideally, you would want to shift your focus and recreate yourself and experience next couple decades here. I mean, why not?
Oh, I'd love to.
That's what the higher path is for you. I think you're on track for that, or else you wouldn't be asking the question. You wouldn't be vibing with what I'm saying. So, and by the way, if we can get into more specifics, if you trust me to help you, get one of the packages, because I'm offering a 1 hour reading in the package, and we can get deep into specifics.
Love it.
Everything about contracts and your natal chart and everything. So
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Right on. Thank you, as you always are. So thank you.
And thank you for being willing to, talk about this publicly, because I'm sure others that are going to see this, that are feeling at a similar crossroads in life, that are going to resonate with this a lot. So thank you.
I hope it helps. Thank you,
Shelley.
and bless you both. Thank you so much. And everybody, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to be taking more questions, more readings, not to worry. But before we do that, we're just going to talk briefly about the packages, since we just kind of segued into it with Shelley. So I cannot write in the chat anymore because I just don't want to risk it. So I'm going to share my screen. I need a new computer too.
Do you want me to put the link in the chat?
If you can, it's alara.at/show/Matthew 9.
I got it.
And what am I doing? I'm going to share my screen. That's what I'm doing.
You Mercury retrograde fool you.
Something like that.
There you are.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. So it's alara.at/show/Matthew 9. And I'm going to share my screen because it's so much fun to do that. All right. So these are two packages that Matthew has, package A and package B. 2 and 3 part payment plans available on both. And of course, you can use a 24-hour special gift code from me, TACS10. So please do take advantage of that. All right. So Matthew, package A is 111 and package B is 244. So these are
absolutely.
Yeah, lots of stuff happening here though. So let's talk about it.
So I have a very exciting new group mentorship program beginning in November called Ascending as One. And it's going to be a weekly calls on Sundays if you want to join the live calls. And if you can't join the live calls, or you don't want to, you can watch the replays. And in every call, we're going to be working on a different topic. First week is Intro to Ascension. The week after that is Healing the Root Chakra. And then you can see all the topics here on this page. Here we go, Ascension 101. Here's all the topics for November and December. So it's they're weekly 3-hour calls where we'll dive into that topic. We'll do group healing meditations together. We'll do EFT tapping together as a group. I'm also a tapping practitioner. We will do a weekly astrology update. I'll show you the chart for the week and what to expect and how to make it work for your own life. And we'll do Q&A, live readings, and I'll give people a little bit of optional homework or journaling to do for the week ahead. So the idea is that we're coming together as a group. I'm definitely looking forward to doing more group stuff now ongoing in my career. We're coming together as a group on Sundays and ascending as one. That's the whole point. So you get that in both groups. You get 2 months of ascending as one in both groups. And if you get the 111 package, you also get 7 of my courses to do on the side. You got, look at this, mastering your intuition. Okay, if you want to learn how to sharpen your clairs, EFT tapping through the 7 main chakras. We'll tap through and clear past life and childhood stuff from the chakras. Keep scrolling, please. We got all about angels, archangels, ascended masters, and spirit guides. You want to learn how to connect with your spirit guides and connect with any entities on high that you'd like to. Powerful visualization techniques for ascension, learning to use your third eye. Look at all these techniques: grounding, shielding, purifying, energizing, cord cutting, etc., that you can do with your third eye. And if we keep going, we've got the Human Energy Field 101. This is a 3-hour course on teaching you the intricacies and the anatomy of the human energy field, okay, chakras or layers of the aura and all sorts of other things. We've got Spiritual Hygiene, Cord Cutting, Grounding 101, teaching you how to protect yourself from picking up any sort of negative energies. And when you do pick up those negative energies, how to very quickly clear them. And Putting the Past in the Past, one of my most powerful webinars, courses, whatever you want to call it, with energetic activations to help you to clear the past. So that's package A. You get 2 months of ascending as one, plus my and the normal price for ascending as one, if you were going on my website, is much more than just the 111. So and you get 7 webinars that are normally $33 a piece. On top of that, there's a 2 payment option. You get a 10% off. So that's a really good value. If you want to work with me one-on-one and you want to take a deep dive into my work, go with package B. You get everything in package A, 2 months of ascending as one. Okay. Plus you get, instead of 7 webinars, of course, you get 16. You get dissolving the ego. Okay. Energetic activations to dissolve negative aspects of ego. Healing with colors. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to use colors in either your healing practice or on your own to help heal yourself and others. Intro to candle moon magic. As I mentioned before, I am a proud witch, and I will teach you how to use candles to do white magic, and also how to use the phases of the moon, planetary hours, planetary days, different colors, etc. Change your reality by changing your words. Very important for this time, learning to change, shift our speech, and to shift ourselves into a higher vibration to manifest what we want in life. How to move on completely from your ex. If you're someone that's going through a breakup right now, or a decoupling, or you know someone that's going through a breakup or decoupling, we dive into the idea of soul contracts around breakups and decouplings, and it's assistance to help you move through heartbreak. And if we keep scrolling, awakening the divine masculine. Okay, this is helping to cultivate the left brain side of things and help you to learn to goal set and to learn to integrate logic with your intuitive practices. And if we keep going down, creating the 5DU. Okay, how to recreate yourself on all levels, a mini future self progression in that. Navigating the dark night of the soul, how to move through a dark night of the soul, or if you're a practitioner, to help your clients, your friends move through dark nights of the soul. A deeper level of forgiveness. I teach the 5 stages of forgiveness and how to move through each stage. You also get my guided meditation to meet your spirit guides and activate psychic gifts. A healing transmission called I Love You Regardless. And the most exciting part, a 1-hour one-on-one soul plan reading with myself. Okay, I'm going to connect with your spirit guides. Going to take a look into your life plan, take a look at your purpose, take a look at your soul contracts with others, and take a look at your natal chart, take a dive into your astrology, and answer any questions at all that you have. Okay, and these soul plan readings, normally I am booked 3 to 4 months out. Right now, you would have to wait till December, probably, if you were to purchase this elsewhere. I have 2 spots that I opened up. Okay, 2 spots for October, for the first week of October. So first 2 people to get in, not only do you get the 10% off, remember there's a 3 payment plan available, but I have 2 spots for readings in October. And then I have, I believe, 3 or 4 spots for November. And then if you miss out on those, you can book with me in December.
Awesome. Wow. There's a lot in these packages, and definitely the package B, if you can get that, you definitely want to, because the reading with Matthew is amazing. Yes. I've said this before, I will say it again. You definitely want to, if you haven't yet, get the reading with Matthew, so get package B. But if you can't because of money, concerns, then get package A. But just know that both packages, 2 and 3 part payment plans, are available.
Yep.
And the discount code from me, the gift code is TACS10. But
And you know, you're going to get a lot of time with me either way, because even with package A, you get 2 months in the Ascending as One program, which includes 6 3-hour calls. It's going to be a group setting, but still you're going to get to interact with me via the chat, raise your hand, you know, call in, you can do a talk or reading, you know, in front of the group. But if you really want to take a deep dive into yourself, into your plan, into your future, into past lives, definitely do a one-on-one soul plan reading with myself. And as we said, you know, 10% off for 24 hours only. And already, if you add up everything you get, it's a 73% discount for package A, 74% discount for package B. You add in another 10% to that, so you're going close to like 80% discount off of if you were to buy this stuff off my website. So this is a really good deal. You know, if you've been wanting to work with me and you're looking for an affordable way to work with me, because I know sometimes it's not as affordable, this is a great way to work with me one-on-one and in a group.
yeah, and all those classes, those courses, workshops are amazing. They're great knowledge, great wisdom. If you know, and you're going to learn something new from all of that as well.
Absolutely, yeah, you'll learn so much. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so let's take where we're going to go to Stacy, I guess. Stacy, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure, thank you.
Oh, hi, Stacy.
Hi.
I've been seeing you on my Zoom, because I can see a few people once on my Zoom, and I saw you're vibing the whole time with what I was saying. I was appreciating the positive energy and feedback from you. You know? So,
it was amazing. Thank you. Yeah. I was wondering if you could, like, what you're getting or saying as far as the work that I'm to be doing in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So tune in and see what I pick up. Sir Stacy. You're such a teacher. I get this archetype of a teacher for you, and I think you've been a teacher in many different ways throughout different lifetimes, and in Lemurian lifetimes perhaps, and off planet. And I just get the vision of like teaching children in certain ways. So I don't know if you have your own kids and that's what it is, or if there's other kids that you also end up teaching. But I would say a big element of your work is about how to start to, like I talked about briefly, raise more, you know, new age children. I mean, because all the kids that are coming in nowadays are star seeds, and they're just, you know, looking to us, to our generation, to hopefully show them the way, is then they can start to show us the way. So it's something a lot of it to do is somehow helping teaching the younger generations this knowledge and these techniques. And so does that make sense a little bit? That's kind of the general sense I get.
It is. Well, I've been homeschooling my kids for about 9 years, but but also it's interesting because recently I keep having these dreams that all these kids are like in my dreams. So that's really interesting that you say that.
So it could come in the form of if you wanted to design perhaps like some sort of online school that, you know, like I get so many parents that come my way that are starting to, like you're homeschooling your kids and they're homeschooling their kids, or their kids go to public school, but they're starting to teach their kids some of this new age spiritual stuff, and their kids are just eating it up. But that could be an option, is some sort of online school for, you know, for kids of certain ages that you want to start to teach them meditation and astrology and how to use crystals and whatever. Another thing may be in the form of like children's books or like videos that are more oriented towards children, like cartoons. And there's many different possibilities, but you could definitely create a very thriving career where you would not only be financially successful, but also feel very much grounded in your purpose by creating some sort of school for children online. And then you could also, of course, do in-person things with that.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
How does that feel though? You know, does that resonate?
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, keep up the great work. And if you wanted to do more of a deep dive into, past life stuff and your astrology that's involved here and specifics about the future and your soul contracts with your kids or anyone else, we could do that package B if you'd like.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome.
thank you,
Stacey.
Stacey.
Wow, you were spot on there, Matthew. Awesome.
Tend
You
to
were
be.
able to, yeah, you were able to pick up exactly what was going on in her energy, I guess, right?
I think so.
I think so. Yep. All right, we're gonna go to Evie. Evie, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, hi. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Evie.
Yeah, hi. Oh,
Hi.
thanks for taking my
Go ahead.
call.
Yeah.
Mine is a similar question. Can you tune into my guides and see if there's anything that you can pick up concerning job possibilities and, what direction I should take, or just anything that's gives me a
I will. I'm right now I'm focused on trying to figure out the accent. Is it I'm thinking either South American or Eastern European.
Caribbean.
Caribbean. Okay. Way off. Okay.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
What country?
Jamaica.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Okay. So yeah, back to the question, purpose. All right.
Or job possibilities.
Job possibilities. Okay. So more specifically, job possibilities. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of interest in you in like fashion or
Yeah.
yeah? So
Yeah.
I think the highest possibility would be some sort of fashion consultant or designer. And I think maybe even higher than that, you may want to look to creating your own clothing lines. And you could work with, various chains potentially to get those out there, and also doing your own sort of marketing on the internet. That might be the highest. You may not feel ready for that for reasons, but yeah, I think you should, focus yourself into the fashion industry. And there's many ways that you can find work in the fashion industry. Are you tied to living in Jamaica?
If there's a tie, there.
Meaning like, have you ever thought about leaving Jamaica?
Living there.
Leaving.
I'm here. I'm in the States right now.
Oh, you are in the States. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
that was my misunderstanding. Are you in New York?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then you're in the right place. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
I was going to tell you, because if you were living in Jamaica, I was going to tell you should move to New York if you can.
Oh, how kind of you. Spot
So
on.
good. You're in the right place. So use whatever tools you can. I like to recommend people learn to use like candle magic for creating job opportunities. That can be very effective. Mantras, you can listen to mantras on YouTube to create job opportunities. So whatever sort of magical things you'd like to do. If you end up buying one of my packages, you can watch that intro to Candle and Moon Magic.
Right.
But I'm confident you'll be able to create a new job opportunity soon. Just don't give up on like what your actual desires and focuses are. Like, don't just, if you have to for money, of course, you take a short-term job as whatever, but, keep focused on being in the fashion industry and really eventually create your own line.
Wow. I've never heard anyone use that part, but it's so much a part of me. It is definitely.
And you're working your way, you're stepping up vibrationally to be able to align with that eventually. So just think of whatever jobs that you end up working in the fashion industry on the way up there. You're always learning something. You're always learning something. And also you're networking, which is just as important.
Right.
You're making friends and connections that then when you do start your own line, it makes it work.
Did you know it was Fashion Week last week?
Oh, no, I didn't. I have no interest in fashion whatsoever, actually.
Wow, this is the stage for it, actually. So it's always around. So perhaps you're picking it up.
Oh, I was just reading. Yeah. And I've had a lot of clients over the years that are in the fashion industry. Most of them live in New York, and I root for them. You know, it's just,
Alright.
it's not my interest. I buy my clothes off Amazon and I really don't put too much thought into it. But I'm totally rooting for you, you know,
Oh
in
God,
your career. Yeah,
I so appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks
you're
so
welcome.
much. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Evie.
See, that's how
Yeah.
I embrace, Lara, I embrace new technology. I literally just bought a new Dockers winter coat off Amazon. Like, it's awesome. Like, I don't have to go anywhere anymore to get stuff. I love it. I
I
embrace that
also
part of
shop from
the
Amazon
new
too, because I
world.
hate shopping.
Yeah,
So Amazon is
exactly.
great. So thank you, Evie.
Thank you.
Shelley, I just wanted to let you know that yes, it should be immediate. I just got the confirmation that it went through, so it should be fine, okay? Just lost my voice for a second here. Before I forget, I wanted to go to where did she go? I lost her. Oh, oops, she's gone. Sorry, Leslie. I know Leslie wanted to talk, but she was, hold on, just have to mute somebody. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So Shelley, it should be all good now. No worries. All right, we're gonna go to Angela, Angela B, because I know there's two Angelas. So
Hi.
yeah, you're the one. Go ahead.
Is this Angela that I already know in
I think so, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
in
Should be.
Yes.
Uganda?
Yeah.
Yes.
How you doing?
Hi, you can hear me? I'm well.
Yeah, how are you? It's been a while.
It definitely has.
How have
Glad
you
you're
been?
back on the show. Very
Yeah,
well.
good.
Yes.
Things are going well. Yeah,
Yes. Improving.
kind of. Okay,
Kind of. Kind of.
kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, what did you want me to look into, you know, while we're live with the group? What did you want me to look into
Okay.
for you?
I've taken most of my work online, and I'm also going into the coaching, mastermind transformation coaching online.
Yeah, nice.
So I want to see. I want to get a feel for direction. If I'm actually pursuing the right direction, because I had stopped most of the engagements I was doing externally. So so that I can focus. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just try to clarify the question. So you want to know whether going in the direction of doing groups and masterminds is the right direction for you?
Yes.
That's the question?
That's the question.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let me tune in. Angela. I get a strong yes, because I think that this is just the start. Starting doing the masterminds is just the start, because it's going to allow you to branch off into creating different courses with many different topics. And that's going to work for you as well as for income, but also it's going to be a lot of fun for you. So I would encourage you to yes, even if I don't know if you've run into any obstacles, roadblocks with like not getting enough people or not getting as many people as you wanted or whatever, but I would keep going with it, because I do feel that it's going to grow and you are in the right position to create different groups and different courses in many different topics, and it's going to work. You just got to keep plowing through. It's going to take, over the next year or two, it's going to really, really grow. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It
Okay.
definitely does.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds great.
And Angela, send me an email or a Skype message. Let me know how everything else is going. And I was wondering how you've been doing. So reach out to me. Yeah.
I'll do so. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, Angela.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to the other Angela now. The other Angela that has the big flower in the picture. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, other Angela.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
good. I'm okay. I'm feeling a little bit shy, to be honest.
Oh, you don't seem shy. You
Yeah,
seem
okay.
right.
Yeah. So I was the one, I reached out to you, I connected with you yesterday, and I'm so glad you spoke about the apathy.
On Instagram?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
good. Okay, great. You ended up
yeah,
finding good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, just because yeah, I noticed different energies coming up, and that was just it's a really hard
Right.
one to be with, right?
Apathy is
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And so I guess for me, I'm just feeling really tender, and I'm just kind of
Yeah.
wondering, like, what's the next kind of thing to support myself kind of moving up in like the direction of my purpose, like just
I
being
get
clear,
that.
like I'm
Feeling, yeah, what the sorts of feelings and vibrations and images and things that I get already is like that you being in this real kind of pocket of transformation right now. I would imagine if we looked at your chart, your transits, there's got to be some Pluto or Saturn action or something coming in for you, in Chiron action maybe, because it just feels like a lot at once. It feels like maybe you've been going through some stuff happening to you and stuff with other people, and you're just feeling totally bombarded. And it's just a lot at once. So I would really categorize this as a dark night of the soul. Now,
okay.
dark nights of the soul, as I teach in one of my webinars, Navigating Dark Nights of the Soul, are meant for all of us. All of us go through several dark nights of the soul during our life, and they seem harsh. They seem unfair at the time. It seems like, you know, this shouldn't be happening to me. Yet we all, yeah, well, it can be long. It can be years and years. But at the same time, you always do emerge from it. And as you emerge from it, you emerge with all this wisdom that you did not have before, and all this understanding about yourself and about your role, about your family, about all sorts of things. You emerge eventually with all that wisdom. So you're still going through it. There's a lot of pain, inner pain that's resurfacing from a long time ago. And that relates to pain that came from past lives. And there's things to be worked out and talked out with other people in your life. There's pain, there's crying to be done, to, feeling the pain within and releasing. And there's also needing to figure out like who you are. Yeah. Like, who am I? Like, here's a really interesting question to ask yourself, and for everyone to ask yourself. Who am I if I just take a look at my life, and if I, for a moment, just put an eraser over family, work, job, career, obligations, finances, like all of the stuff that is a part of life, but just for a moment, just imagine that stuff is not a part of the picture. Who are you? Like, literally, who am I who am I? Who am I when I take away all that stuff? If I was dropped like on a desert island and I had all I needed as far as food and comfort, who am I? Like, how do I spend my time? Like, what brings me joy? Who am I? So like, it's such a deep, like, primordial question in a certain way, like learning who you are as a personality, and that even you'll get glimpses of like who you are as a soul, even when you dig that deep. Now, that's one thing. And then another thing is the practical side of like, okay, what is my role in the world? How can I express myself in the world, right? And for you, it seems like probably you've jumped around to a bunch of different things. Never
done a lot of healing, a lot of different healing modalities.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
But it's my turn now.
Exactly. And a lot of people end up doing that. And while you're doing that, you're learning so much, and you're also going through the trial of error of like, okay, this modality works best for me, or it doesn't. I resonate and vibe with this, or I don't. And in that, you start to develop your own methodology and your own the modalities that work best for you, that then you can assist others with. And just remember, all healers come from having to heal themselves. Okay. There's no exception. All healers come from having to heal themselves on some level. So the fact that you've been going through a tough time and you're really still in a process of a lot of self-healing and self identification, just figuring out who you are,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be a healer. You certainly are. It's just that through this, you're learning all the wisdom you need to. The other thing I would recommend is to look into your physical health and well-being, because I think you may be able to I think there may be some mood stabilization issues that could be ameliorated through shifting your diet, and even better with certain supplements. Of course, I don't know if you're on any medication or not. If you are on medication, you have to, okay, you're not on any medication. So that I don't know if a medical intuitive reading is something that is in your budget. If it's not, just know that there's many things that you can look for as far as like, especially GABA balance, like look into supplements that can balance GABA levels of mood stabilization supplements. And you can contact me, you know, if you can't afford a medical intuitive reading, which I totally understand. If you can't, I can give a few suggestions that you can look into on your own. I won't tell you, like, you know, you just can look into it. But yeah, it would help. There's definitely there's a bit of an imbalance, and the imbalance is rooted in I think there may be some autoimmune issues, and also there may be
I got
really
hit.
You got hit in the head too?
I got hit in the head. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. That's even, that's what it is ultimately.
Yeah.
When you get hit in the head, it really affects you for a lot of people the rest of their lives.
In a couple of years. Yeah.
It is, you can ameliorate that through, there's many different ways. Some, you know, one route is medication. Sometimes that's the only route that works, but another route is using supplements, and also homeopathy is another good route with that as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me via email or Instagram, and I can certainly point you in the right direction. Or if you're able to do a medical intuitive reading, you know, we could do that. Or if you're interested in doing, of course, my package on here, we could work on more of the soul plan sort of stuff. So hope I was able to be helpful a bit.
Yeah, that was lovely. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really appreciate like your gentle heart, because I think that's just so needed right now for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, of course, that's how I am.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on and enjoying the show and feeling comfortable in our community here. So
Thank you, Angela, and thank you for being vulnerable enough to share and coming on for the first time, because I know it's your first time here on the show and first time speaking. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And sorry in the chat that I got a windshield shattered on my head. I'm still healing. I'm so sorry to hear that, Sarah. Yeah, it's gonna, when you get hit in the head hard, it can affect your brain for quite a while. But there's a lot of different things, like not just supplements, homeopathy, medication, diet. There's all sorts of different healing devices that can help with that. And there's also just energy healing. It can be extremely helpful. And also things like acupuncture and chiropractic, and any modalities that are body work oriented can be wonderful. And then there's also wonderful technology you can look into, like there's like the cold lasers, there's EMF technology, and there's so many that I come across every day. So
cranial sacral, I was just going to say that as well.
Cranial sacral, cranial sacral.
I've never had that. I've always wanted to, but it's never worked out.
Yeah. And you know, sorry, you know, you can always email me, and I could do a medical intuitive reading, or I can, you know, if you can't afford it, I can just give you point you in the right direction of some things I may have heard for head stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you. So just one quick comment. Grace, can you please email me at alara@alara.at? That would be great. Or just respond to one of the emails. You know, I send so many emails, just respond to one of those emails. Okay. All right, we're going to take one more reading. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure. Where are you? Okay. Sure. All right, Odile, she's had her hand raised for a long time. And I kind of missed you there, Odile. I don't know how, but.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Odile.
I would I would love a reading of my future love life, please.
Ooh, okay. First love question. I like that.
No, I think she said life, right, Odile, or
Love
love?
life.
Love. Said
My
love.
love life.
Oh, okay,
Love
see, I
life.
couldn't hear. Oh, awesome, all right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. Let me check out. See what I got. Odile, by the way, just let me know whether you're currently with someone or not. That's
I'm
all I
not.
need to.
No.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to confirm. Okay, no. Okay, I'm having a good vision, but also just for fun, because I am a huge proponent of the tarot and I teach the tarot. I would love to incorporate the tarot into one reading today. So I'm going to do a tarot reading on this as well, just to corroborate what I'm seeing. So what does the future hold for Odile's love life? What does the future hold for Odile's love life? What does the future hold for Odile's love life? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and I'll certainly show the cards that I drew: the Justice card reverse, 3 of Pentacles reverse, 5 of Wands reverse, and the 4 of Wands. So we seem to be having a bit of a progression here, where we're showing this place of feeling disconnected and frustration, and which is what I saw. I don't see you meeting. I don't see you. I don't know about meeting, but I don't see you like connecting, integrating with someone that soon. But I did see someone coming in kind of the mid future, not like super long term, not super short term, that seems to be this very special bond that you're supposed to go through a lot of stuff with, which makes sense with the 5 of Wands, right? Where it's a lot of this karmic stuff that's still within both of you that you're playing off of each other, but eventually it leads to what you're looking for, which is this, the 4 of Wands, right? Which this is the card of marriage in the context of relationship. Doesn't have to necessarily be marriage, but this is a union. And is what I'm seeing. I do see someone in your future, but I see that at first it's going to be great at first, and then it's going to get difficult. But then eventually you guys are going to make it work. That's what I'm picking up. Not that soon, though. It's like you may have to wait another 18 months. I don't think if we looked at your astrology, you probably don't have a lot of good Venus or Jupiter action for that right now, I would imagine, but maybe soon. As I said, maybe like that 18
But
months.
even 18 months, that's not that far away.
Where is she still there?
Yeah,
Yes,
Odile,
I
you
am.
there? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I don't know, what is your feedback on that?
I would love it sooner than that, obviously, but we'll see.
We shall see. Everything can change. I could be wrong, but I think the important part is that I do see that there is a contract. You are going to have that. It's just, I think you probably need to be a little bit patient with it. I know you've been being patient for a while.
Yeah.
It'll happen though.
Thank you.
But it's also not going to be the easiest thing at first. It's going to be a lot to go through with that person.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Odile, and good luck. And sometimes, when we want something right away, energetically or mentally, we might want it and we think we're ready for it, but energetically in our environment, we may not truly be ready for it yet. And so it's that time delay
Yes.
actually is quite
Yes.
helpful. And we don't see that until after the fact, but it usually ends up being that it happens at the perfect time because when things actually line up and we are in that position to actually have the space for somebody else,
Precisely. And yeah, if
Right.
you do, let's say you meet someone prematurely, so to speak, or you meet someone when you're energetically not necessarily at the best vibration, well, then they're not going to be either, because there's a law of resonance. So you're gonna attract. Now, a relationship being tumultuous doesn't mean it's not meant to work out. As I kind of saw in Odil's standpoint, I think it will, but there's going to be stuff to go through. But also at the same time, if you're not at the right time and you kind of force the manifestation when it's not really at the right time, maybe the planets aren't lined up in a great way for you, or you're just not energetically ready, or usually both, then you might kind of get a difficult relationship that there's no energetic foundation for it to stand on.
Mhm.
But when it is the right time, it works together, it comes together like puzzle pieces, and there is a strong energetic foundation that's naturally there.
So trust in the process. But that doesn't mean don't reach out and talk to people and meet people.
Oh, of course. No, yeah. Don't take my word and like you're a hermit. Like, go out and meet people. Because anyway, even if it's not the right time to meet the right person, you're going to get experience. I mean, especially for most of us, we haven't had a ton of social experience over the last 3 years for obvious reasons. So just getting out there and being more and more social now and reacclimating yourself into dating, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
So Can I read Evie's comment? Can you see it, or can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Alara, for taking my call. I know you're all. Thank you, Odile. Evie says, thanks, Alara, for taking my call. I know you're always ready to help. Matthew was so right. I was always connecting to other things as well, and many people are always pointing it out, but I was not sure how to use it as a possibility. Now I know. Blessings to you both and to the guides who are rooting for me. Blessings to you, Evie. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, wow. What a great show, like always. And, I said at the very beginning, Matthew has so much wisdom, always shares so much. And we learned a lot, like we always do. And just, the possibilities for us moving forward in the future. There's some good and the bad, but you know what? We just go with the flow and we, hope for the best, plan for the worst.
So like everything I said, I believe in. And at the same time, you create your own bubble of reality.
Yeah.
Okay. It's up to you to create a bubble of peace and joy and happiness in your own world. Even if you're going through some stuff, as so many of us are, you still have the power to create that bubble of peace in your own little world. And also, a lot of times it's just best to not even pay too much attention to what's going on in the news or the outside world, especially if it, brings you down. I pay attention because I'm very curious and I love understanding. Like, as you can see, I'm such a nerd. I love talking about geopolitics and economics, and I could talk about any topic. Because I'm always a student, but that's me. But a lot of people feel really kind of crushed by just paying attention to what's going on in the outside world. So if that's you, just don't even pay attention. And I have a lot of clients like that. They tell me like, I don't even have a TV, or I don't even watch the news at all, or I don't even know what's going on. And that's fine. That's where it actually is healthy for a lot of people.
That's me. I never know what's happening until somebody tells me something.
Cool.
It's like, oh no, I didn't see that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's cool.
I have enough going on in my life. I don't need to, be bombarded by other stuff, right? So it's all good.
True. That's true. Yep.
So the readings today, like always, Matthew's readings were spot on, very helpful, very positive and uplifting and empowering, even though Shelley had asked a really difficult question at the beginning, but
but I think it ended up being it was an understandable question, to want to ask, but we just we wanted to ask it in the highest vibrational possible way. And ultimately, it's not something that's written in stone. It's
there's nothing that's written in stone, right? So
very little is written in stone.
We will die at some point. That's about the only thing. So again, you got a taste of Matthew's skills, talents, abilities, and as well as heart and compassion. So if you'd like to work with him more deeply, you can, check out one of the packages, package A or package B. They are both available at alara.at/show/Matthew9. I always say I recommend package B because of the 1 hour session with Matthew, and it is quite eye-opening and validating, and you'll just get so much out of it.
Can I read what Angela said in the chat?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
She said, Matthew's amazing. I encourage those who can get a reading with him to do it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Angela, we've worked together several times. She found me on this show.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, your work is exemplary. You're spot on, and you always give more than just what there's always more that you give. You're very giving, and just like you have been on the show giving information about supplements and everything else, you're very kind and generous that way. So I really, really appreciate that. And that's why I keep calling you back, keep having you come back on, because I love the work that you're doing, what you're sharing, your courses. You have so much wisdom and your kindness. So I appreciate that a lot.
It's an honor to be invited back so many times. So thank you.
So again, everyone, I was going to keep this to 2 hours. We're almost there. We got a few minutes left, but thank you so much, everyone, for all your questions, the comments, and feedback. And check out the packages again. Like I said, what's new, one of the things that's new is the membership. So, you get to work with Matthew every three times a week, 3 times a month.
Every Sunday, 3 times a month. Yeah. So that is a new element to my journey working with others, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really super excited about the Ascending as One program. So
I encourage you to take advantage of the package A just to get that part of it, so that's going to be, it's like,
and Alara, you're very kind to offer 3 payment options, as most shows don't. So it's really great that you offer that to people. And I did just post the because I know you can't get in the chat, the link once again for people in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, that's alara.at/show/Matthew9. And again, my gift code TACS10. So please do take advantage of that as well. Okay. All right. So thank you. The boys were good. They didn't bark or do anything crazy. Thank goodness. So
wonderful.
It's all good. So thank you so much, Matthew. Again,
thank
like
you,
always.
Laura. Thank you so much.
And Brenda says, wonderful show. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate both of you. Matthew's Health Intuitive is extremely informative. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So, and you can always ask Matthew a question about stuff like that. So he's always available.
The soul plan readings, I wouldn't do a medical intuitive reading, but anyways, just, if you get in contact with me, we can talk about the medical intuitive stuff more. So
he has a lot of info. So, check it. Yeah, for sure. So definitely take advantage of his wisdom, for that. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Great start to the new season 30.
Absolutely.
I feel so old when I say that, but it's like great start to the season. So thank you so much, everyone.
Well, there's more than one a year, right? So it's not like 30 years, right?
30 seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is a lot. I mean, that's like South Park, Well, no, they're getting, that's like Simpsons territory, 30 seasons.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. So it's been a while since we've been doing this, but it's so much fun, and we so appreciate all of you. We love you all, and I'm so grateful that I get to do this. I get to do this. So thank you. All right. Until next time, everyone, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Namaste.